Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for waiting, as I said. Sorry, but, you know, we tried to do our best. But I'm so happy to see all your beautiful faces tonight. Tonight, we have an amazing guest, but before I embark on introducing him, I just want to quickly talk to you about cocktails over fashion. For those of you who don't know, I see a lot of familiar faces here, and thank you so much for always coming and always showing up. But for those of you who don't know, cocktails over fashion is an idea that I had when I just realized that there are so many extraordinary artists in Ghana or in the continent, and their stories are not shared, or there's no platform to share their stories. They're incredible, formidable stories. So having said that, I also want to urge you to please share as we go along, because this is an interactive conversation. So feel free to raise your hand to ask a question as we're going along, and I'll make sure that your voice is heard, as well as sharing anything that you feel like you want to share. We would love that. And I always invite, for these occasions, one formidable guest, one amazing artist that has really changed the game in their field, and now we're focusing in fashion. And the main objective is to inspire, inform, and challenge creative minds. So having said that, Steve French inspires, informs, and challenge creative minds. And this is Steve French. Please, a round of applause. He is a darling friend, my creative obsession. So to start off, I just would like to ask you, if you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
I think it would be creative, ambitious, and I think I have a crazy sense of humor. Yeah, just the 3 words. Yeah, 3 words.
Well, as long as you believe in yourself. No, I'm kidding. Where were you born, and where did you grow up?
Okay, so I was born here in Ghana, in Takoradi. I grew up in Ghana. In the early part of my childhood, I did a little bit of Côte d'Ivoire because of my parents, but I grew up mainly here in Ghana. And
so the obvious question is, what was your first, experience with fashion? I know your mom is a seamstress, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And I know that after so many conversations that we've had, you've talked to me about being obsessed with cartoons.
So growing up, my family, we watched a lot of cartoons. So there's cartoons playing all the time. And that was where I picked up my illustration from, because I used to illustrate a lot of cartoons, and it developed from there to what the cartoons characters were wearing. So I realized that the cartoons, I was like, why don't I tweak something, like maybe something like a sleeve on Minnie Mouse, or like a collar on Daffy, like Duck or something, or even Ariel, change the hair or something. So it just started from there, and then it drifted from just drawing the cartoon characters to the garments that the cartoon characters were wearing. And also I come from a family where it's like a line of like dressmakers. So basically I was explaining to you that like I have like 12 grandmothers, and then they were all dressmakers. Yes. Yeah. So it's like tradition passed from one generation to the other. So my mom actually started off as a dressmaker. So growing up, there were always like machines and clothing stitching, something happening there. So basically my lifehood, I've lived with fashion, kind of, yeah.
How did you realize that there was something that you were so interested in?
Okay, I'll be very honest. I think at that age, I didn't really know what fashion was. But I think I was just drawn to maybe clothing, because I would see how my mother would wrap her cover and slit, and it would intrigue me so much. Yeah. And then I think sketching my own things and putting all the styles to it drew my attention to the garments and all of that. So I think that is how the love for illustration and even fashion came to me. it's just the women that were around me at that particular point in time, and then my influences from the cartoons, and me actually sketching and doing these things was what inspired me to get into like clothing making. Yeah.
So let's get right into it. We all know that Ghana is a very, it's a pretty traditional and conservative country, especially when it comes to the arts. So my question to you is, I know it's, by the way, just a little tangent, I know it's changing definitely now because we have an amazing youth that is like they're killing the game, to put it, and you included, by the way. Did you ever receive any backlash or any opinions, but not negative opinions about following an artistic career first, but as well, let's mention the elephant in the room and just say, a fashion designer second?
Of course, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did. So, I'm a fanti, and so I think in the fanti culture, or maybe it's a general Ghanaian thing, dressmaking or clothing making is reserved for people that are quote unquote like school dropout or like can't further their education. So once you're doing clothing making, that means you're dumb of some sort, or you do like carpentry or something like arts. Things like that, you don't respect it. So you have to be like an architect or like a doctor or like a pilot,
Yeah, of course.
And this is me coming from like a family of like doctors and lawyers and things, and I wake up and I'm like, oh, like I think I want to make clothes. Like all this school for dressmaking, like to make clothes, really. I remember in the beginning my journey is just it's been crazy because me doing dressmaking in the beginning was very tough because my parents didn't really, and they didn't really accept me in the sense that of me making clothes in the beginning. So I remember my dad once told me that if I wanted to do anything art related, because he had just seen that I wasn't going to change or I wasn't going to pick up any career, because actually I started off as a science student. I was a science student in school. Then
and then after you studied architecture, right?
Yes, I started as a science student. So I was in a science class studying physics and chemistry, studying all of these things, elective maths. And then one day I woke up, I was like, Charlie, this thing is not for me. Like, because I'm studying chemistry and half of my book is full of like illustrations, So I woke up one day, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to change. I'm going to be a visual artist. And this was like my third year. And we have like 4 years in school. I did 4 years in school. So it was like my third year to my final year, I changed to do visual arts. And I remember my dad once telling me that if I wanted to do anything in the arts, the only thing he could think of was architecture. So I legit actually started learning to be an architect again in the process.
So they put you through science, and then after they're like, well, if you don't want to be a scientist, then be an architect.
So I started, and then again, I rebelled. And then I told them that, you know what, this is me. I've always wanted to do this, so I'm going to do this. So hop on my boots. I beg you, just give me a chance. And then some way, somehow, I don't know what happened. My fancy father and my fancy mother allowed me to study dressmaking, and this is it. And fashion, actually.
But do you still feel a pressure that you have to like, us as artists, we're always going to feel like a certain type of pressure to be, for our loved ones to love what we do, right? But art is so subjective. So someone you really love and that loves you back doesn't necessarily get you, like sometimes. And that's okay. Do you feel a certain kind of pressure from your parents to always excel? Or on the contrary, you've gotten to a point where now your parents really accept you for who you are and don't expect anything,
Yeah.
Because you know how African parents are. Like, they always want you to be like, you have to be the best in whatever you do. So
I think I can say proudly now that my parents accept and they love everything I do. As a matter of fact, my father watches the fashion weeks even before I do. Wow. And he sends me trends and things before even I do. Because what I think the issue is they project to us what their fears are, or what they don't know, they don't want us to go through it, or what they haven't been through, they try not to let us go through it. So basically, I think that's what it is. But I feel right now my parents understand me. They understand what I'm doing, my path. They didn't have education, and kind of they did, but like this is me walking them through my journey and then teaching them that, you know what, this is it. Like, this is something. I mean, you can actually respect. This is it, basically. So right now they accept me and they love me and they love all my creations, even though they are not here. But I'm sure my dad is watching somewhere on Instagram, somewhere, yeah.
And it also helps when you're immensely talented. I just wanna say.
Thank you.
It's not like you're drawing like a little. By the way, on that note, we are surrounded here by pieces from Steve French. So here, behind you, over there in the corner, right here. The camera is kind of blocking that. And what I'm wearing tonight, obviously, is Steve French. So as you can see, he's not like just like, doing little drawings like how he used to do from the cartoons. Come a long way. But I want to ask you, like, so what advice do you have for so many talented, well, I'm going to say Ghanaians, like Ghanaians that are so artistically inclined, but like are so scared of like following, an artistic path because of everything that you mentioned. Is there any advice that you could give to them from your experience?
Okay. So I think for me, it would be to never stop dreaming, because this was a 7-year-old boy that at one point was not allowed to be creative in any way. But this 7-year-old boy never stopped dreaming. I missed everything that happened to me throughout my journey. I never stopped dreaming. And this is one thing that I always tell myself is, be yourself. The world will just adjust some way, somehow. I think I was telling a friend of mine 2 days ago that, and I mean, still in the same position that I was in, and I rebelled and I was able to get. I think most artists generally are rebels because they have to rebel to be who they are. I think. Oh, I know. Yes. Yeah. So I was telling them that, I mean, live your truth. What it is that's inside of you that you really want to do, live it.
Yeah.
Just live your truth, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I think.
Amen. Quickly wrapping this this topic, but what would you say was your like lowest point, and how did you succumb it? Like, how did you deal with it?
Okay, so my lowest point is was the turning point in my life. I remember one time walking into I was in an elective maths class. Yes, elective maths class. And there were a bunch of people in this class that knew that they were going to fail the next year. So it's like a class that you are coming to that people know they're going to fail the next year. So it's like there's no motivation. I don't remember what happened, but I remember walking. I was legit walking out of the classroom. And I remember the lecturer told me, he was talking to me, but I wasn't hearing what he was saying because I was like in another world thinking, okay, I have to like take my life serious. I have to let people know this is what I want to do. And I remember the lecturer telling me, if you walk out, don't ever come back to my class again. And then a bulb just went like, ding. I'm like, okay. I just went and picked my bag, and I just left. And I remember walking on a park, and that was my lowest point. I'm like, I can't go back to this class again. I can't go back to this life again. What am I doing?
You were like doubting, like, what have I done?
Yeah, what have I done? Is this the right thing? Are they going to accept me? Is this the end? Like, what am I going to do? And I remember calling my mom, and I told her that, you know what? This is me. Like, that was... For me, at that particular time, I told my mom to just listen to me for just 5 minutes. And I explained to her everything from then to now. And then who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, and how I wanted to do it, and everything. And I just told them that, you know what, just give me a break. Like, give me a chance. Like, you guys should just let me make the mistakes, and then be there for me and help me correct it. Yeah. In my career, that was the breaking point for me. And that's elective maths class. On that field in East Legon, that was my lowest point, and that was my breaking point.
But that also changed your life.
That's also changed my life, yeah.
And usually it's like that. You have like that low point that will flip things because you get the courage to actually like
Exactly.
get out there and like, you know, when you're
Yeah.
at your lowest, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know, I'm a big fan.
I know.
You know, for me, looking at our educational system, to me, people like you are outliers. Our educational system does everything, you know, to break that outside of the box thinking, to stigmatize
Yeah.
difference and
Yeah.
creativity. If Steve could create his dream dress or his dream outfit, it might not be a dress, what would it be?
My dream dress would be a combination of my favorite looks for my mom. That would be my dream dress to create, because
So different aspects of
so
different looks
different
of your mom.
aspects of my, like, as in pieces that I've actually seen her love, like as in love her in. That would be ideally my dream dress.
I would like you to like go through the looks that we have in front of us today.
Okay.
So this is like showcasing your artistic development. I
Yes.
know they're from different collections
Yeah.
from the last how many years?
Over a period of like 4 years. This piece here is from the beautiful Imperfection,
Yeah.
and this was my graduate collection, and this basically is my life. So growing up, it's my story. People didn't really understand me. I always felt like the outcast, the kid that was like, you know, I always felt like I was like tired all the time because I had to be something that I wasn't. I had to do something that I wasn't supposed to be. And every time that I created anything, it was like, oh, you have to be crazy to wear it, you know? You have to be mad. Just that bottom man side, you have to be crazy to wear anything Steve makes, because the sleeve is flying from left to right, or the neckline is something. It has, like, I was just always thinking out of the box. So this collection embodies everything. So you see the, what's it called? The belting and everything symbolizes the whole time that I wasn't creative and I had to be somebody. The fabrics and things are from my childhood. This fabric reminds me of my primary school. This was what I used to wear in primary school, and I used to sketch on my teacher's dirty cars and things, and I always get in trouble. So this is my Genesis, basically. This is my graduate collection. And this is my recent collection. This is Yakoba. So what I'm doing now is I'm telling stories. So I'm getting to know my heritage, and I'm telling them, because these were beautiful 12 women that were amazing dressmakers in the Western region. I'm actually in Zimmer. So if you look at this silhouette, this is Hollandaise. This is Vlisco. For this collection, I was highlighting the general life of all my collections, of all my grandmothers. So this is for one of them. This is Yakoba. So it covers from birth to her lifestyle, to her work, and to death. So this is family. So in every Nzima home, there's this fan. You can't go to an Nzima home and not see this fan. So this symbolizes her home. So these are things that these women used to do, or my grandmother used to do. So basically, this collection was telling her life. And I'm going to subsequently appreciate all 12 of them. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
So this kills my next question, because I was going to ask, where do you get inspiration from, and how do you manage to like stay authentic with your creations? But I guess everything is so personal to you, like a lot of artists. But I think you'd even go further into your family history, and I can hear that there's a true, I want to use the word obsession, but I think I love the word obsession. I don't know why we use it in a negative way, but an obsession with the women in your family, which is amazing, and paying tribute to them with your creation. So that's amazing.
Thank you. Can I say something on the inspiration?
Yes, absolutely.
I get this question all the time, that where do you get inspiration from? I think inspiration is all around us.
Yeah, of course.
You just have to open your eyes and see it. It's just all around us. It's that woman moving. It's that tree. It's how maybe the braid of, I don't know, maybe how the guy is seated. It's just all around us. It's the conversations we have, you know?
Yeah.
You don't really have to now get a wine and go to somewhere and say, I want to get inspired. It's all around us. It's beautiful. You just have to see it. I think so.
Just like you're in love with me, by the way. And I
right.
inspired him to do this. Okay. So I would like for everybody to give a big round of applause to Steve because he just got nominated. He just got selected for the Gucci Fellowship in Rome. Yes, it's a big deal. It's Gucci. We're not like, it's not Gucci. It's not Gucci. It's not Davido's Gucci. It's Gucci. It's Gucci. So
I'm not among, I beg.
mean, no hate on that, but I'm just saying it's like Gucci. It's like the real deal. So like, who came to give you the fellowship award? Naomi Campbell came to give him the fellowship award, and he was still. I saw the pictures. You look very disturbed on every single picture. He's like, and how is that? How is that beating Naomi Campbell? And like, and having the thing for real, like, you know, now you know it's like, okay, I got it. Like, this is in my hands.
I don't know. I can't really explain it, but all I know is that I was in shock. You know, that's like, this is somebody you've watched like all your life. That is Naomi Campbell, like, guys, you know. These were dreams that I dreamt when I was like 7. Yeah. And I didn't give up on these dreams. So these things happening to me now, I kind of understand because I didn't give up on my dreams. And it's a lot of hard work, honestly. So yeah. So yeah, that's how come I met Naomi Campbell.
It only comes when it's hard work,
yes,
trust me.
A lot of hard work, a lot.
That's amazing. What is your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal.
Personally and professionally.
Okay, I mean, it ties up everything. Yeah. So, my ultimate goal is not just make clothes, but make clothes that make difference. Not just in my life or just wearing clothes, but make difference in the environment or make difference where we live. So, I'm making clothes that is affecting the kid in Somali or the kid in China benefit or things like that. So, it's not just about clothing, but it's also making somebody's life beautiful somewhere. Yeah, that's my ultimate goal. Not just make clothes, but to help.
Again, like Miss World. World peace, world peace. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly, that's my ultimate goal.
If you could talk to your younger self, what would you say to yourself, to your younger self?
If I could talk to my younger self. If I could talk to my younger self.
Yeah.
If I could talk to my younger self, I would tell my younger self to not stop dreaming. Because I dreamt of this. All the times when I used to sketch in the toilet. Because I used to sketch in the toilet because I couldn't sketch in the open because I couldn't. And all the time I used to sketch, I always used to tell myself that I want to get there. Like, I want to make clothes that will be on the runway, like how all these designers are doing it. And I had dreams. And I'm kind of living some of my dreams now, but there's more of my dreams that I wrote in my journals and things that I dreamt of. So I'll tell my younger self to have not stopped dreaming. Yeah. To not stop dreaming. Yeah.
And to not stop being yourself.
And to not stop being yourself. Exactly.
That's so beautiful. I want to hug you.
Oh, hi.
Okay, so I want to ask, we all know being a creative, no matter how your aesthetics are, it finds a way to merge with your personal life. But however you take it, your creativity becomes your profession. So your personal life will also be separate. How do you deal with all the demands in being a creative and all the other things that you do in just a position with your personal life? How do you do it?
But I think for me, what I try to do is, you know, I try to have a fine balance. So there are times when I have to consciously tell myself that, okay, Steve, you need to, like, you know, chill. Like, you know, this time is for this person, or like take a breather, you know. Otherwise, you'll be so immersed and then you forget everything that is happening around you. Because, you know, in as much as we are creatives get immersed in their work and then they forget about everything else. But you need to have the fine balance. You need to go out. You need to see your family. You need to, like, these little things adds up, you know. So I feel like depending on what you are doing, I feel like you have to be disciplined and have a fine balance and know that, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this, and at this time I'm going to have time for this. So you have to have a fine balance of it.
So my question is, obviously, with you going to Rome and doing what you're going to do, how are you going to make sure that the story of Africa, I know it's a lot, but the story of Africa is told through the eyes of an African, because we see how a lot of the times you have high and major organizations or brands such as Gucci, Fendi, and all those people that would take from us and basically sell it. You know, you saw Valentino and then they were selling Ahima slippers for like £250 or even more. So how would you go and make sure the story is told by us and portrayed in the right way? It sounds like a lot of pressure, but it's just a question.
Wow. I just feel like nobody can tell your story better than you do. Yeah. So I remember with this project, and some of you know about it, but basically I told my story the way I wanted to tell it. Regardless, inspiration is all around us. The same way we find people in Kantamatu wearing, like people in Ghana, like wearing like things from outside. That's the same way they also draw inspiration from Africa. Inspiration is all around us. So I feel like the little that I have here, or whatever that I have, I'm going to put it out there. But I'm not going to say that you're gonna steal it. It's just inspiration. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, no, there is a fine line between being inspired and being and copying completely, or no, sorry, taking ownership of a creation that's not yours. But it's a good question, and it's a good question for young designers such as yourself, African designers that are going, for example, now to Italy. It's like staying, like, I guess you were also asking how you're going to stay true to yourself and how you know what I mean?
I mean, so
without having to go like, obaya, 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 you know what I mean?
So basically, just like I am doing now, these are stories that I'm telling from where I am now. So basically, that's like a continuation of whatever I'm going to do there. So whatever story that I feel like I want to tell at that particular time is what I'm going to create my clothes in.
What I noticed with a lot of designers is they want to run without, walking. And then when they are not able to do that, they easily get frustrated. So what advice do you have for someone who's coming straight out of fashion school and the world seems so blurry? Number 2, congratulations again. What do you think has changed for you since this experience happened to you?
One thing that I won't say is like a mistake that most graduates do is that they think that once you're done with school, nobody can, I'm done. Like right now, I'm a designer. But I feel like they cease to learn or they cease to explore. Yeah. Now they want to manufacture, like they want to I'm done, let me just. But I feel like, even in fashion school, it takes time for people to even know who they are as artists, as creatives. So don't rush it. Take all the time you have, and in the process, you find yourself, you find your heartbeat, you find what makes you unique, like unique as a creative, as a designer. So that is the advice I'll give to any creative or anybody that comes out of any fashion school, any art school. Take your time, don't rush it. The world, you have to survive, but don't rush it. And then the second question was
what has changed? What has changed since the Gucci Fellowship?
What has changed since the Gucci Fellowship? Oh my God, a lot has changed. A lot has changed. My life has flipped, even though I'm still hiding, but my life has flipped. But it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot. I mean, then again, I go back to the dreamer. I think I have to put that picture up. The 7-year-old dreamer, Steve French, that was 7. It's taught me to push, to not give up, hard work, and then to also be my authentic self, and the world will just adjust. That is one thing that this whole Gucci project has actually taught me. And after, basically, yeah.
I just quickly want to say something. First and foremost, I want to thank, obviously, Steve French. A round of applause for being here tonight, for being amazing, for sharing. And you're an inspiring person, and I'm obsessed with you. And I can't wait for everything that's in store for you, because I know you're just going to do amazingly well. And just stay as beautiful as you are, because you're honestly one of the most humble and one of the most beautiful people that I know. So I Yeah, when you don't act like a fool. But otherwise, you are amazing, and please stay the way you are, okay?
Thank you.
Like, remember to make clothes for me and Lydia, please, I beg.
I will.
Thank you.
I
want to thank Front and Back, as usual, for being an amazing space, a safe space for everybody to share. But this space was also created by over 40 artisans from the continent of Africa and the diaspora. And it's amazing, from the art on the walls to like the seats. Some of you are sitting on kente that's like 120 years old, still kente. This place is amazing, and it's trying to promote African excellence. So a round of applause for that. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And now just enjoy DJ Isaac. Cool, drink, party, talk to Steve French, but don't harass him because he's mine. Thank you, bye.
Agba no no de kakwe